Hi, I'm Tom Lydon, editor of ETF Trends here in New York at the iShares Connect conference. I'm here with Robert Michaud, who's Chief Investment Officer at New Frontier Advisors. Robert, thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
So you folks have 15 different ETF portfolio strategies, and you're pretty much strategic in nature right across the board, is that right?
That's right. There are really 15 different strategies really made for different types of investors for different risk levels. They're designed to be really transparent so people know what they're going to get.
And the transparency is important, but even more importantly, it's that discipline of those strategies where, for some investors, if you have a strategic model, markets up, markets down, sometimes you're forced to make decisions to sell some of your winners and buy some of the losers. And that's difficult for people sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah, so we have a couple of differences right off the bat there. So for one thing, we're optimized portfolios. So when we're building them, we're really able to construct a portfolio that has the right combination of assets for each different type of investor. So if you have an aggressive investor, you don't just have more stocks, you have more stocks that are trying to capture the risk premia while being diversified at the same time. And when you have a more defensive portfolio for a more conservative investor, you don't just have a lot of bonds, but the bonds that are in it are lower duration, more conservative, less credit risk, and even the stocks that you have there are less tilted towards the small caps than the emerging markets. And the other thing that's pretty neat about us is because we have a statistical approach to all of this, we can rebalance when the whole portfolio is off, not need to pay attention to every single asset class, because if you're overweight small caps and underweight emerging markets, like happened to a lot of people recently, maybe your portfolio is going to behave about the same, and you don't need to start doing transaction costs and worry about those things.
Yeah, so the liquidity aspect is important. The selection of the ETFs, maybe you can talk about that for a minute.
All right, well, we're an independent manager, so we get to pick our favorite ETFs from all the different providers. But what we're really looking for is, in addition to the nice features of ETFs, the transparency and the liquidity and the cost, we're really trying to capture, is it representing the asset class that we're interested in?
Right.
We're doing a complicated optimization with maybe 30 different ETFs in a portfolio, and if the asset classes don't behave the way they're supposed to, then we can't take advantage of that. And so if you have, even if there was an active manager that we really loved, we wouldn't be able to get all of their alpha by getting just the right type of asset allocation at the asset allocation level. So one of our beliefs is that a lot of these risk premia, a lot of the types of factors that people go after to get better performance, instead of doing that at a fund level by selecting securities, we can get a lot of those same exposures and a lot of that same extra investment value at the asset allocation level by coming up with clever combinations of different asset classes using ETFs.
Okay, I understand. So even though you have a strategic model, you've got to have some opinions on what might be coming down the road in a rising rate environment. And do you plan on tackling that differently, or just sticking to the strategy that you've put in place?
Well, we don't want to ignore the world as it's changing. We don't want to be one of these strategic managers that has 100 years of historical data or some process that has recommended the same portfolio a decade ago as that it's planning to recommend to you next decade. But we also don't want to be overreacting. We don't want to be acting emotionally. We want to be paying attention to, we want to be building a portfolio that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, optimization is quite powerful if you do it right. But you have to do it right.
Absolutely. Okay. Robert, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it.
Right.